From the 3rd to the 7th century AD, a new religion spread. It combined the teachings of Zoroaster, Buddha, Jesus, and one more prophet, Mani. For a brief moment, this religion was among the most widespread, with followers from the Roman Empire all the way to China, and then it disappeared. Well, almost. Join me today as we uncover the forgotten religion of Manichaeism. Hi, my name is Sebastian and you're watching 7 Facts. First, a brief introduction. Manichaeism was a religion founded by the Persian prophet Mani in the 3rd century AD. It was a dualistic religion that believed in two opposing forces, the force of light and the force of darkness. This faith emerged in Persia during a time of great religious and cultural diversity. It drew on elements of Zoroastrianism, Christianity, and Buddhism, among others, to create a unique syncretic faith. The central belief of Manichaeism was that the world was created by the two opposing forces of light and darkness. These forces were in constant conflict, and the material world was seen as a battleground between them. Manichaeism taught that the goal of human life was to escape the material world and reunite with the divine realm of light. This could be achieved through ascetic practices such as fasting and celibacy, as well as through the acquisition of knowledge and the practice of virtues. While Manichaeism was once a major world religion, it eventually declined in the face of persecution by other religions and political powers. So, who was this man that created such a powerful force? Mani was born in Persia in 216 AD to a family that belonged to a Jewish Christian sect, the Alkacids. This community was ostensibly Jewish Christian, though with some Gnostic features such as the belief in recurring incarnations of heavenly apostles. Mani was raised in this religious family and became a prophet pretty soon. At ages 12 and 24, Mani had visionary experiences of a heavenly twin of his that called upon him to leave his father's sect and preach the true message of Jesus in a brand new gospel. Mani was already drawn to the teachings of various religions, and from then on he sought to create a new syncretic faith that, in his mind, drew on the best aspects of each tradition. He traveled extensively throughout the Persian Empire and beyond, studying Buddhism and Hinduism. He drew followers from a wide range of backgrounds, including Zoroastrians, Christians, and Buddhists. Of course, it was said that he performed miracles like levitation, teleporting, and healing, which helped him to gain converts in the Iranian elite. Mani's teachings emphasized the importance of spiritual knowledge and the rejection of materialism. He believed that the material world was created by an evil demiurge, and that the true goal of human life was to escape this world and return to the realm of light. Through an ongoing process that takes place in human history, light is gradually removed from the world of matter and returned to the world of light whence it came. However, Mani's teachings were a bit controversial and often brought him into conflict with the political and religious authorities of the time. After Bahram I took the throne of the Sasanian Empire in 271 AD, it was bad news for Mani. You see, Bahram was a follower of a strict and intolerant Zoroastrian priest, Qatir. So his reign marked the end of the Sasanian tolerance towards Manichaeism. Mani was arrested in the year 274 and died while imprisoned. Various sources say he was flayed or crucified, but the more plausible execution was beheading. But this wasn't the end of the faith. Despite his tragic end, Mani's legacy lived on through his followers, who continued to spread his teachings and establish Manichaeism as a major world religion for centuries to come. But what exactly was this religion teaching? As we mentioned earlier, Manichaeism is a dualistic religion that believes in two opposing forces, light and darkness. The force of light represents goodness, purity, and God, while the force of darkness represents evil, corruption, Satan basically. Manichaeism teaches that the material world, including the human body, was created by the force of darkness and is thus inherently corrupt and evil. That's quite literally the Manichaeist truth. Adam and Eve were the offsprings of Az, the son of the Zoroastrian supreme evil being Ahriman and his mate Navroel. However, the force of light is also present within the material world in the form of divine sparks, which are trapped within the body. The goal of Manichaeism is to liberate these divine sparks through spiritual knowledge and ascetic practices, allowing them to return to the realm of light and escape the corrupt material world. In this regard, Jesus was a prophet sent to awaken Adam and Eve to the source of the spiritual light trapped within their physical bodies. By the way, the term prophet was unfamiliar to a Chinese audience, so Buddha was used as a substitute, and Mani was a reincarnation of Siddhartha Gautama, the original Buddha. Anyway, it gets quite complicated, albeit fascinating. Manichaeism also places great importance on the concept of the soul, which is seen as a divine entity that is trapped within the body. The liberation of the soul is achieved through the accumulation of spiritual knowledge and the rejection of materialism. Only the righteous could return to paradise, whereas the soul of the person who persisted in things of the flesh, things like fornication, procreation, possessions, cultivation, harvesting, eating of meat, drinking of wine, is condemned to rebirth in a succession of bodies. These ideas that combined so many familiar elements from different times, regions, and cultures caught on, and Manichaeism began to spread. Manichaeism's message of spiritual liberation and the dichotomy between light and darkness quickly gained popularity throughout the Persian Empire and beyond. Its teachings resonated with people who were dissatisfied with the traditional religions of the time, as it offered a new way to understand the world and the divine. Mani himself traveled extensively throughout the Persian Empire and beyond, spreading his message and gaining followers. His teachings were later spread by his disciples and missionaries who continued to teach even after Mani's death. By 280 AD, this faith reached the shores of the Roman Empire. It gained a foothold in Egypt through the apostle Satik and spread forth from there. Significant groups later emerged in Carthage, Greece, Italy, Roman Gaul, and even Britannia. There are records of Manichaean monasteries existing even in Rome in 312 AD. In the east, Manichaeism first spread to Central Asia, but thanks to trade routes, the religion reached all the way to Chang'an, the capital of the Tang dynasty's China. Tibetans, Indians, and Arabs also came in contact with the teachings of Mani, and the short-lived empire of the Uyghurs, the Uyghur Khaganate, made it their official religion. However, as Manichaeism grew in popularity, it also faced opposition from the ruling powers of the time. Manichaeism's dualistic beliefs were seen as a threat to the established religious and political order, and it was eventually suppressed and persecuted. In 291, the Sasanian Empire began to persecute and, frankly, slaughter the followers of Mani. In the Roman Empire, political resistance arose a few years later, but it was in 382 that Emperor Theodosius I issued a series of edicts to suppress this faith and punish its followers. And by punish, I mean the execution of all Manichaean monks. In China, Manichaeans were soon referred to as Chikayu Simo, meaning the ones who abstain from meat and worship the demons, and Tibetans considered Mani to be a heretic. In the 8th century, Emperor Xuanzong banned any Chinese from converting to the religion, and after the fall of the Uyghur Khaganate, the chief patrons of Manichaeism, all their temples were closed down. Well, not just closed, but attacked and burned down, and within a century all Manichaean clerics were condemned to death. Despite its persecution, Manichaeism continued to exist in various forms and locations for centuries to come. And it's in China, in the province of Fujian, that you can find what is regarded to be the only Manichaean building which has survived intact, the Kaoan Monastery. Manichaeism did gradually fade into obscurity, as it also faced competition from other religions and philosophical schools. Although it was thought to have finally faded away in the 14th century in South China, there is a growing corpus of evidence that shows Manichaeism persists in some areas of China today, specifically in Fujian. The currently known sects are notably secretive and protective of their belief system, which has aided in them going relatively undetected. Sadly, that also means we have no idea how many Manichaeans actively practice this faith today. Okay, so how similar is Manichaeism to Christianity? Well, these two have a complex relationship to say the least. First off, at its core, Manichaeism is based on Zoroastrian beliefs, although even this is debatable. But on one hand, Manichaeism borrowed many concepts from Christianity, such as the belief in a savior figure and the concept of sin. On the other hand, Manichaeism also diverged from Christianity in significant ways, particularly in its emphasis on dualism and rejection of materialism. Mani was exposed to Christianity during his travels and was heavily influenced by its teachings. Manichaeism's savior figure, known as the living spirit or the comforter, bears similarities to Jesus Christ, and the concept of sin in Manichaeism is reminiscent of the Christian notion of original sin. However, Manichaeism also diverged from Christianity in its emphasis on dualism. While Christianity acknowledges the existence of evil, it does not embrace the idea of two opposing forces of equal power as Manichaeism does. Despite these differences, Manichaeism and Christianity continued to influence each other throughout history. Manichaeism's popularity in the Persian Empire led to its interactions with Christianity, and some Christian theologians were influenced by Manichaean ideas. Conversely, Manichaeism was influenced by Christian ideas in later periods, particularly in its beliefs about the afterlife. The other major religion that got intertwined in Mani's teachings was Buddhism. Manichaeism and Buddhism share some similarities in their emphasis on the liberation of the soul. Both religions believe in the importance of freeing the soul from the cycle of rebirth. However, Manichaeism again differs from Buddhism in its belief in a dualistic universe. The idea that the universe is composed of two opposing forces which are in constant conflict with each other is not present in Buddhism. With regards to achieving nirvana, yes, the concept is present in both religions. Asceticism plays a role in both worlds, albeit not in the same manner. Asceticism, by the way, is a lifestyle characterized by abstinence from sensual pleasures for the purpose of pursuing spiritual goals. While a fundamental aspect in Buddhism, in Manichaeism it's not outrightly rejected, but rather it is placed in a specific context within the teachings. For Manichaeists, the material world is seen as inherently corrupt and evil, while the spiritual world is seen as pure and good. As such, the ultimate goal of Manichaean practice is to liberate the soul from the body and the material world and to return it to the realm of light. Asceticism can be seen as a means to achieve this goal, as it involves the rejection of material pleasures and physical comforts in order to purify the soul and bring it closer to the divine. However, Manichaeism also emphasizes the importance of balance and moderation and does not promote extreme forms of asceticism that may harm the body or lead to self-mortification. This contrasts with Buddhism, which often emphasizes the importance of asceticism as a means of achieving spiritual liberation and can sometimes be taken to the extreme, an act that's often honored and celebrated. Despite these differences, Manichaeism and Buddhism did influence each other. In Central Asia, where Manichaeism and Buddhism coexisted, there was a synthesis of ideas between the two religions, leading to the development of yet another religion, Manichaean Buddhism. Manichaeism may not be widely practiced today, but its legacy lives on. Its emphasis on dualism and the importance of spiritual knowledge had a significant impact on later religious and philosophical movements. One such movement was Gnosticism, which emerged in the early Christian era. Gnostics believed in a secret knowledge that would allow them to escape the material world and reunite with the divine. They also believed in a dualistic universe, with the material world as a creation of a lesser god and the spiritual world as the realm of the true god. The Manichaean concept of the struggle between light and darkness and the idea that evil is a force in the world influenced Gnostic beliefs about the battle between the spiritual and material worlds. Manichaeism's rejection of materialism and focus on the soul also influenced Christian mysticism. The Christian mystics, such as Meister Eckhart and John of the Cross, sought to experience God directly through contemplation and the purification of the soul. The Manichaean concept of the soul as a spark of light trapped in the material world can also be seen in the writings of some Sufi mystics in Islam. Overall, while Manichaeism may not have survived as a distinct world religion, its ideas and teachings continue to have an impact on religious and philosophical thought today. And who knows, if history had played out differently, maybe today even you and I might share a common Manichaeist faith. I hope this video was interesting enough to have inspired you to look into it further on your own. If you liked it, leave a like and subscribe. You can leave your comments downstairs, and you can also check out my Patreon page if you want to support me. I do hope to see you next time. Bye.